Hello, I am back again. I'm going to be still here with my really badly cut bangs. Oh, the humor in small things. Um, but I am thinking and talking about stuff today, and maybe a little bit about siblings. So, um, Lucy she was the middle of three children, and her older brother is 23 and younger brother is 17. And Lucy and her younger brother were still living at home with me when she passed, and older brother had moved out. So when she did pass, older brother came home to be with the family, to grieve, to be there. And I had a 3-bedroom house. So that meant that probably sooner than I was ready, Lucy's things needed to be packed up. And we didn't have to completely remove everything, but he needed a place, and he was more than willing to be in her space with her stuff. In fact, he slept wrapped up in her blankets and pillows and dirty sheets for 2 weeks after she passed. He couldn't get enough of her. And for her younger brother and I, who had been living with her, it seemed a little bit more difficult to be in her room. So it was the difference, I think, of living with her at the moment and not. Her older brother still is just no issues with being around her things. For us, it's been hard. Um, so I made a decision to pack her things a little earlier than most people, I imagine, would. Um, and the reason I did that was because although her older brother wanted to be surrounded by her things, I was really afraid of them being ruined or mixed in. I wanted to preserve her items the way that she had left them, and so I left a few things in her room. He's got her blankets and a stuffed animal and um, some things on the wall of his that she had kept. He's an artist, and he had drawn her some pictures, and she had them up on the wall, and I left those things for him. But her everyday items and her clothing um, was actually packed up, and I didn't do that. I was not able to, so her good friends did that for me. So, stuff. What do we do with their stuff? When is the appropriate time to pack it up? I don't think that there's a right answer. I think that if the space is not needed, some parents may leave a room intact for years. Other parents, their children have moved out of the home already and are adults, so there probably has to be an immediate packing of their items to move them out of whatever space they were living in. Maybe your kid was married already, and then the packing of things isn't even up to you. Maybe you don't even have control over it. That seems really hard for me to imagine. So I'm thankful that I had control over her things. Um, I did allow friends to come in under my supervision and take a few knickknacks and things that meant something special to them. Um, Everything was reviewed by me first, and I I really felt better about people having something that meant something to them that was special than putting her things in boxes. Um, Putting her things in boxes was more difficult than giving them away. Um, Lucy had reconnected with her biological father and her siblings on his side at the age of about 19. So over the past 2 years, she had a relationship with them, and by relationship, I mean she probably visited 5 or 6 times. Um, why that situation was the way it was, we'll leave for another video because I would love to talk at some point in time about um, grief with and without the other parent. But another time. So I brought her things to my parents' home. My parents have lived on the same property since I was born, and I'm an only child, so that will be passed to me, and for me, it will be passed to my boys. So it's a permanent spot. It's a place I don't have to pay storage, and we always have access to it. And the kids grew up here. We moved a lot, but we always had Grandma and Grandpa's house to come back to, and spent most of our holidays, and they spent summers here with Grandma. And so this very much is our home base. So it felt good to bring her home. Felt appropriate. So today we have this little guest house that my dad built for my brother, who has also passed. And so it's interesting that this space is now kind of like the space of the dead in our family. And I will laugh at inappropriate times because it's just our sense of humor is off and skewed during these tough events. So my dad built this space for my brother to stay in when he came and visited us. It's a cute little loft and little room here. They built it together, which was special, and they used all recycled material. So it's something that we haven't, as a family, wanted to tear down or get rid of. People can sleep here. They can sleep up in the loft. There's a little wood stove. I don't know if you can see it. But the corner behind me is where Lucy's things are. And I'm up here today because her younger brother is about to turn 18. And for the first time after 7 months, he has had a complete and utter breakdown this week of just missing his sister. He's been very stoic, and kids his age don't really know how to check in with him or grieve with him. It's awkward for anybody to know what to say, let alone your 17-year-old friends. He mentioned the other day, he says, "Mom, not one of my friends has asked me how I'm doing since the funeral." And it breaks my heart. But he has also not really wanted to talk a whole lot about it because he's just so emotional. And the other day, an item of his was broken that Lucy had and that he had kept, and he just totally lost it. Totally just sobbed, screamed, and "I can't do this anymore, Mom. I can't do it anymore." And in a way, I was glad to see him show some emotion and get it out, and I was glad that he reached out to me to do that with. Siblings, another video at another time. But for his birthday, he had been talking a while about doing a Day of the Dead shelf in his room for Lucy. And for those of you that don't know, Mexicans or other Latino cultures celebrate Day of the Dead instead of Halloween. And basically that time is spent by picking each person, maybe, or a family member, picking somebody who's passed and honoring them for that day. They might bring out their favorite items. They might cook their favorite food. They might visit the gravesite, but it's just about that person on that day. So a lot of times the family will build an altar to that person. I'm sure there's many variations of this going on in other cultures and with each other parents. And I know that some of you this year um, put up a separate Christmas tree for your child, and um, some people have put a special garden area in their home. Um, and like I said, maybe the room is just memorialized in the way that it sits. So my plan for my son is to build a shelf, um, an altar of things that will remind him of his sister. I'm gonna put up 3 pictures on that shelf. A picture of them together as babies, and then as kids, middle aged, and then as a recent picture of the two of them as adults. Um, and I searched. There's plenty of pictures of all the kids together and family pictures together, but I really searched hard to find pictures that were just the two of them, so that it was something special for just the two of them. So I plan on putting that shelf up for him um, for his birthday. So I am up here with my daughter's things, and I'm going to look through them, and that's really hard. But it's also it's also selfless in the sense that I'm looking specifically for things that I know that Giovanni would connect with in a memory of his sister. Um, so immediately I'm kind of looking for her favorite pair of tennis shoes that she had up on her wall, and some of her favorite candies. And she had perfect eyebrows and eyelashes, so maybe a eyelash curler or something of her makeup. And I don't, maybe a sweatshirt that they used to share. The clothes used to go back and forth between their rooms. So thinking about a shelf that maybe has a hook on the bottom where I can hang a sweatshirt or a shirt or something that reminds him of her. So things. I'm going to show you. I packed Lucy's things in these bins. I shouldn't say I, her friends. And you know, her clothes are still in there. I even think this cute little pillow she made at some point in time with Grandma. I think that was her. I'm not sure. But yeah. You know, there's just all of her stuff. We used to call her the knick-knack queen. And there's a lot of knickknacks. Her room may have looked busy, but she knew where everything was. I couldn't find a pair of scissors or a paperclip without saying, Lucy, where are the scissors? Oh, they're behind the jar on top of the shelf where the thing is on behind the other thing. And I don't know how she knew where everything was, but she did. So I've been misplacing everything since she's been gone. I haven't been able to find what I'm looking for. She was my go-to. So I don't know what I'll do with these things. You know, I'm sure that they will dwindle in size. My mom has talked about making a quilt with her clothing for the boys. I think that's a beautiful idea. I definitely don't feel like it serves personally a purpose for me sitting in a box. I would rather the boys enjoy it. And And eventually, I may have some grandchildren, and I want them to have um, a knowledge of who their aunt was. So I may save some of her jewelry and things in case I have a granddaughter and or grandson. And that right now is as far as I'm going to be able to get with what to do with all of this stuff. It will definitely never ever go to Goodwill or anything like that. I'm probably going to hoard it until I die, and then somebody else is going to have to deal with it. That's how I'm feeling right now. But I'd love to hear from other parents in the comments, if you are watching, what you decided to do with your children's things, ways that you memorialize them in your homes, um, ways that you were able to keep them alive that wasn't too difficult or too hard for you. I think that would be really interesting to hear. So that resolves this tape for today, and I appreciate you all following along. We made it through the first Christmas, yay. And I'm hoping that it continues to get easier. Hoping to replace my tears with more laughter and memories of her. I don't want to replace her with anything. I just want to replace the way that I react to her name being spoken. So, congratulations on your first Christmas, and I will be checking in again soon sometime.